All right, what's up? So in this video, I'm going to go through some of the best triggers for outreach. So this is going to be 15 of the best triggers for cold outbound and specifically for cold email. And I want to very quickly just clarify what are triggers. So triggers are basically publicly available information that you can find either like LinkedIn, Google, anywhere online. And I'll run you through like some of these and how you can actually find these that basically tell you this is a good time to reach out to this prospect. Now, not every single company or not every single prospect is going to have this publicly available information. But if you are able to find it, and another word for this is problem sniffing. If you are able to find it, then use it in your outreach and use it to make your email stand out so that you're basically saying to the prospect, hey, I researched you and I can see that you have this problem. Here is a potential solution to this problem, right? If you don't do that and you focus on like AI personalization or some other BS personalization by like going, hey, I saw your LinkedIn great post or some shit on their website like that's irrelevant to the rest of the email, they're just going to ignore it. But if it's relevant to the rest of the email and it's relevant to them at that particular time, then it's so much more likely that you're going to get a good response rate, right? So this is what I wanted to clarify. Relevance is more important than personalization. Personalization can still be important, but relevance is literally everything. If it's not relevant to them, if you were thirsty or starving and someone offered you a burger or some water, it's highly relevant to you. You're so much more likely. But if you've just eaten, right, and someone offered that to you, it's not relevant, right? It's the specific timing of when you are in pain or you are have that specific problem. And by doing research and manual research or automated research using AI, that's when you're able to actually get emails that are actually going to like trigger some kind of response in the person because it's super, super relevant, right? And it's more important than finding some random fact online and sending them a compliment about it. That's not going to do anything. People can see right through that BS. So don't do that. Relevance can still be personalized and it can be very specific to them. It can be like more of a generic thing. Like, so for example, you could use, and I'll go through the examples of triggers, but let's say you've got, hey, I saw that you're using a WordPress website, right? That's like pretty generic and you could build a list on WordPress websites, but you could then also make it each individual one specific, right? So this is an example here. So that you're using a WordPress website. Now this is really generic relevance, but it's still relevant. Yeah? If you're selling web development services or something and they've got an old WordPress website and you built that list, it's still relevant, right? And then this is an example of bad personalization. So loved your last LinkedIn post, very impressive. Like some people that send this kind of stuff that's just not relevant at all. You don't want that stuff. You want to the point, relevant. Cool. So what are some examples or what examples of triggers that you can use to improve the relevance of your emails? So number one is the tech that they use. So if you, for example, you sell if you sell web development and you see that they're using like a really old, shitty WordPress website, then using the tech that they use as part of your relevance could be really good. Now, you might want to go into a bit more detail about it, but you can still use that. And I've used this, quite literally this exact line, and the campaigns perform actually really, really well because it's like super simple and to the point. And it looks like you've done your research, even though you've just built a very targeted list. Now, this really works well for tech that they use that's visible on the website, not necessarily like if they use like a CRM or something like that. So if you can see that they're using that tech on their website, then that's a good way. And your tool integrates with that tech, then that's a perfect like intro line into, introducing who you are and your actual email itself. Fundraising. Now this is overused. However, it can still be useful. It's maybe better to wait a little bit of time. So like 2 to 6 months to actually reach out around fundraising, just because, if someone's just raised a bunch of money, they are going to be bombarded with emails. So you want to stand out a little bit and not necessarily be like there straight away. You want to see how they're actually using the money, maybe in 6 months time, or like check back like that. That might be another strategy. New product launches. So you can do research on like, have they launched new products? So an example of this could be, right now I'm working with a smart contract auditing company, and they do audits when companies have released new updates or launches or features and things like that. So if there's something that says, hey, this company's just updated something or launched a new product, then that's a perfect time to reach out to them because they are going to need some kind of audit at that particular time. There is no way they cannot do an audit because otherwise, they'll just have issues. So you can see it's specific to that specific time. Companies hiring, so this could be, hey, saw you're hiring some sales reps, saw you're hiring in the HR department, etc. This shows that they're trying to grow, they're trying to bring in people around that space. So again, if your offer is relevant to what they're hiring for, then perfect time to reach out. Company growth rate, again, very similar to that. So if they're growing a lot, then this could be a good chance for reaching out around operations or things around automation or streamlining things, because as things grow, they usually break, or they have a lot of like flubber, for lack of a better term. So if you can figure out how to streamline that through your service, then that could be a perfect thing or a relevant point to actually reach out on. And then that means you could target companies that are growing 5, 10, 15, 20% or whatever over the past like 6 months on LinkedIn, and then build a list around that and then target them with your specific offering. Company decline rate. So this could be, particularly useful if you're doing it around like sales, marketing, things like that. If a company's like declining, then they're most likely not doing the best at getting revenue, unless they're just doing cuts to like trim the fat kind of thing. But 9 times out of 10, they're probably struggling with like revenue generation. So it could be a good time to reach out around something to do with sales. Community members. So this is like LinkedIn, Slack, Facebook, things like that. With with Slack and Facebook, you might want to be a bit more careful with this around sort of GDPR rules. But with community members, again, if you're like in a digital marketing group and you pull the list of people in digital marketing, 9 times out of 10, it's going to obviously be relevant towards them. If you've got an offer that is around digital marketing or improving and helping around digital marketing, if you've got like a tool or something like that, then that's obviously going to be relevant to those people. LinkedIn post engagers, again, very similar to community members. So if they're actively engaging in posts around, say, for example, cold email, then it's more than likely, or sales or anything like that, it's more than likely that they are invested in that space or looking for a solution, or solution aware, problem aware, things like that. And that's when you want to reach out to them. First-time founders, they might have particular problems that they're going through at that particular time, or they've never done this before, so they can use all the help that they want, that they might need. So you can reach out at a particular time and say, hey, just saw that you have, you're a first-time founder. This usually means that you might struggle with XYZ, and then be able to use that as kind of like your leverage for being able to open the door, like the intro to the conversation, essentially. Companies with no dedicated team members for a task. This could be, if they don't have like an HR department, if they don't have XYZ department, then you can go in and say like, hey, our solution or our tool or our XYZ helps with that, right? And it's more cost-effective solution or something along those lines, right? So obviously you're not putting all of this stuff in your email, but that's like the general consensus of how you're reaching out to them. You're using that information to then go and reach out to them about a particular thing around that information that you found online, right? And it's got to be relevant. So the email body and the first line, which is the place where you kind of like enter the relevance of it, or enter the sort of like what's the buying trigger that you found, or the trigger online, which is one of these, then that leads into your email body, right? And they've got to connect those two things. If they don't connect, then it's not a relevant email. And then LinkedIn event attendees, again, could be similar to community members. LinkedIn post engagers, you've seen that they're going to something, you see that they're engaging in something, so reach out to them about that particular thing. If they've just gone to, digital marketing and Facebook ads conference or something, then they're probably doing that or are interested in improving something around that area. So if you offered something around like improving creatives or this YZ, or your XYZ, or your tool does this, then that's a good way to reach out. New video or podcast episodes. This could be a YouTube video. This could be videos that they post on their website. This could be any kind of video that you've seen that showcases to you like, hey, they're investing in video or in content. Or in podcasts, and you can find things, you can actually pull podcast notes and then reach out based on certain things that people said in those podcast notes. I can't remember the tool off the top of my head, but it is doable. So then, you're able to use that, and then you're able to leverage that as part of your email to make it more relevant. Website traffic. So if someone's website traffic is declining, or if it's growing, you can, reach out around like improving conversion rates, or you can reach out around improving numbers of, people actually coming to the website and improving the traffic. And again, it's all relevant or depending on what your offer is. So whatever your offer is, or whatever you are offering, then link that to the relevance of the information that you find online to build the email that you actually send to people. Final two, running ads. So you could, have a look on Facebook ads, ads library, and you could see, for example, that they are running ads, but they're running lots of different ads, and they haven't had ads that are running like super long, which means that they haven't found a winning formula. So you could reach out around that, and you could say, hey, we will help you improve, your ad performance, and we've noticed that you've got XYZ. and you're referencing something that is publicly available information, and it shows that you've researched them and said, hey, I saw that you're running ads, but you've clearly been struggling to find a willing, ad formula. Here's some ideas that we found have worked, or something along those lines, right? And you can send that. And then the final thing could be social media usage. If they're posting a lot on social media, but they're not growing, they're not getting the engagement they want, that could be a perfect time to reach out and say, hey, see that you're doing this, see that you're posting consistently on Instagram, LinkedIn, etc. But I can see that the engagement isn't necessarily there. How have you been finding it? So on and so forth, and open up the conversation like that, right? So the main point and the main thing I really want to just drive home is the most important thing with emails is relevance. If they are not relevant emails, they will not get opened or they will not get responded to, right? Now, relevant can mean, and more than likely it will mean the first line of the email. So this is usually like you spot something online. So the process would be you research something, you find information that is relevant to what your offer is or what you're offering. You mention that thing that you found online by doing research. Now you can automate the research, and that's where AI actually comes in. You say, I saw this thing, I saw that you're struggling with this, I saw that you're doing this, which usually means this. Here's our offer, right? Or here's something that I could show you to help you out, right? Because I can see that you're struggling with this thing. So that's how you really want to structure your emails, and that's how you're able to get really good response rates. Relevance doesn't necessarily have to be manual research. You don't have to manually go through every single company to find this information. You can automate it through AI and tools like Clay, for example, but you need to know how to do it manually and find that information manually to then work backwards so that you can figure out how to automate it. All right, do it manually first. Do something that doesn't scale first, and then work backwards and figure out how to automate it. So I can show you that in a separate video, but if you've enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe, comment, all that stuff. And sign up to there's a newsletter as well, which has a guide on how to, I think it's like step-by-step on like the full outbound process. So if you're interested in that, grab that below. And see you in the next one. Peace.